everybody wanna know. If you're ready, let me know.
What's going on, everyone? DarkSense here, and I am bringing you a complete beginner's guide to using training mode in Street Fighter 6. Now, you can use this knowledge across other fighting games, as they practically have the same settings and stuff in terms of dummy controls, recordings. It's just a little bit organized differently because of the menus are slightly different. So yeah, you can carry this knowledge over to other fighting games. Now, when you press start, you're gonna get this first menu setting, which should be environment settings. You're not gonna use much here, but if you press right, you go over to the dummy controls. Now, you can change the dummy to CPU, but we're just gonna leave them at dummy. With dummy behavior, you can have him crouch or jump, which we will get into later or maybe another video. But for now, we can just leave him at standing. Now, counter, this can be good for learning what you can go into on counter hit. So if you're not sure like what you can do off of a counter hit combo with your character, just go ahead and turn always counter on. And then there's always punish counter. So you can practice your punish counter combos, but essentially you can set up the dummy to wake up reversal after a knockdown. Or you don't even have to do that. You can just have this on and then practice your combo to see how much damage you can get. So now we go to the block settings. Now you got no block, block all, block count, and block after first hit. So block count we'll just kind of leave out right now. That's a little advanced for beginners. But block all you can use for maybe testing spacing traps. So if you do that, you can have the dummy react with a button after the 3 hits, but again, we'll get into these settings later. I'm just kind of telling you what these settings can be used for. So block after first hit you can use for like testing your Oki and then maybe seeing how plus you are. And that brings me to the frame meter. So if we start back at environment settings and we push left twice, this will bring us to this menu, and then we can use the frame meter. This will teach us frame data. So going back to learning the Oki, you can learn like how plus you are after certain situations, etc, etc. And then for random block, you can use this. This is a really good drill tool to practice whether your hits can you can confirm your hits from hitting or block. Sorry, it's really early. But essentially you just do your 3 hitting string and then confirm if it hits. So if the first hit gets blocked but then the next 2 hits connect, you can practice reacting to those. But right now you can just practice reacting if the first hit connects. But I do recommend practicing reacting to if 2 hits connect. But if the first and second one doesn't, you can just go into a safe special or just nothing at all. So that's kind of how you practice hit confirming, which I highly recommend for a lower level player. Learning to visually see whether your hits get hit or blocked is crucial. So now we can get into the recording settings. Now this may seem daunting, but this is what will make you a better Street Fighter / fighting game player, is utilizing this right here. So what you can do is with the recording settings is do drills, and I'll just give a few examples, mainly some beginner ones, on what you can practice. So one is anti-air drills. So if you just have the dummy do a record, then what you can do is have him do a whiff button into jump, and then the other one you can just have him do a whiff button into nothing, and then just practice reacting to anti-airs. Okay, that took a little longer than usual for him to jump, but the more advanced you get, you can add in more more recordings to make it a little harder and just for you to practice reacting to other stuff. For example, so now that we have these recordings set up, what you can do is practice reacting to him doing a drive rush button, and then you can have him do a jab into DI. So now you got 4 settings you can practice reacting to those 4 different things. Now one of them is just a jab into nothing, so essentially you're just reacting to 3 different things. But that's kind of how you use the recording settings for a beginner level. I highly recommend just kind of using them for drills, for practicing things like anti-airs. Anti-airs I highly recommend you practice now if you're around like silver, gold, or platinum and you're still struggling to prevent players from jumping. Definitely use the recording to drill anti-airs and just practice reacting. Okay, so now we move on to the reversal settings, and starting with wake up reversal, we're gonna go back to the Oki part. So learning like what you can do with Oki with your character. So what you want to do is you want to set the opponent dummy to do a 4-frame button on wake up. So now that we have Sagat set to crouching jab, which is his 4-frame on wake up, we can practice doing Oki on him. So with Ryu, you can get like a dash into forward heavy punch and it trades. You can get a dash into crouching medium punch or kick into fireball. You can get a medium tatsu into it. So you just kind of want to use this to learn your character's Oki and just get the muscle memory down. Now you can watch videos of like your character's Okizeme and what you can do, but watching a video and actually doing it are 2 different things. So you need to get comfortable using the training settings, the recording settings and reversal settings, so that way you don't like struggle and don't know what to do or what to lab. So I'm kind of giving you the building blocks on how to lab and how to use training mode essentially. So again, you can use stuff, use the wake up reversal to practice your Oki. For block reversal, you can use this to test frame traps. But first you have to set the dummy to block. And then you have them do their 4-frame. So Sagat's 4-frame is his crouching right. So if I do medium punch, it won't frame trap. You can also tune the delay, but that's for a little more advanced. Later on down the road, I'll make an advanced video for training mode. But so you can do stuff like drive rush, because drive rush makes you plus 4 frames for any normal that connects. So you can test your drive rush frame tracks. And yeah, that's essentially kind of how you use block reversal and wake up reversal. Reversal after damage, I wouldn't really worry about right now. This is more of an advanced setting. So that's kind of really the gist of training mode. There's probably more I could go over, but I just want to keep it simple for now so I don't overwhelm you. But essentially, what you want to use training mode for is to, lab your opponent's frame data. That's one thing I forgot to mention too, is when you have the frame meter on and you record your dummy. So one thing I want to mention is if you use the dummy recording function, the shortcut, you can actually control the dummy without recording. Unlike if you go over to the record, you have to immediately start recording with the character. But if you use the shortcut, you can have free range of controlling the character without actually having a timer. So you can poke your opponent and figure out their normal's frame advantage and what moves are minus. Because the last thing you want is letting your opponent getting away with fake pressure. But yeah, like I said, I just want to keep it simple for now, so that way you have an understanding of how to use training mode. But yeah, that's it. This is DarkSense signing out, and I hope you have a good day. Peace.